So over the last 12 to 18 months, JD and I have been making these YouTube videos, and you'll have seen the series that we've made on our 335D and our Fiesta ST track car. But in the background of all of these videos, there's always been something lurking. This is my 2011 BMW E92 M3. It's a 4-litre V8. It's got 414 horsepower. It makes an incredible sound. And it's been on my dream car list for a very long time. Whilst there isn't actually much wrong with this car, shamefully, I've shut it in the garage and completely ignored it for the last 12 months. The car hasn't even been started, the battery hasn't been on charged, it is in the exact same place as where I parked it up over a year ago. We're going to pull the car out the garage, we're actually going to see if it starts to begin with, get it MOT'd, and then we're going to retrofit some new modern upgrades to it, and then finally, we're going to compare it to a BMW M2, because both cars are at the same price point, to see actually, should I have bought one of them instead? But the one problem that we've got is getting this back on the road, is we've got to try and find a new home for all of this and all of these. It's a bit of a mess, and to be honest, I don't really want to clear it all out, but it's not going to do itself, so we better get to work. Alright, so we've got everything cleaned up. You'll probably question why I hoovered the floor. It's not very clean. What I really don't want to do is get a screw or a bolt or something in the tyre. Mike's popped by on his way in from work. Keen to see if the M3 fires up. Haven't had this car on charge at all. It's been in here for about 6 months. Got the key. See if it runs. Alright. Well, that's a good start. Whee! First time!
You guys?
So we've literally just pulled it out of the garage. I actually can't believe it started first time. Forgot how much I miss driving this car. It just sounds like so good. Listen. Make sure I'm in neutral. It just sounds so good. Listen. Oh god. Got a black interior as well, which I think is amazing. And yeah, it just looks so good. So the next thing we're going to do, the car's got its MOT booked in a couple of days. So we're going to get it nice and cleaned up, we're going to get over there, get it MOT, see if there's anything wrong with it. Most importantly though, we're taking it to a BMW specialist. I've asked them to do a full vehicle inspection, because I bought the car about 1.5 years ago, used it for about 6 months, and it's just been parked up since. I've never really got underneath it. So they're going to do a full inspection on it for me, make sure there's nothing wrong before we start using this car properly. And then yeah, when we get it back with a full MOT, I guess it's going to be an excuse to get it out a bit more. Alright, here we are. We are literally on the way to the MOT station. We've got a local BMW specialist in Salisbury called Bromspec Motorworks. I know the guys there, they're going to look after the car for me. The car needs the handbrake adjusting. It's come up asking for brake fluid change, and these M3s have what they call a yearly inspection as well on the service schedule. So I've asked the guys at Bromspec to do everything. I'm literally just going to go down there now, drop the car off, pick it up in a few days, and then with any luck, it's all good as new. I'm hoping there's no MOT failure. I can't see why there would be. I've gone through and had a quick look at the car, and you know, it seems pretty good the last time I drove it. So, but like I say, I've never been underneath it. So let's get there, let's get the car MOT'd, then we can get back and actually start using this thing. really happy to say it's passed with flying colours. The guys had to keep it for, I think it was just under a week, about 4 or 5 days in the end, because the handbrake was a bit harder to adjust, and they had a couple of issues with one of the brake calipers, so one of the bleed nipples are stuck, so I had to try and get that sorted out. But the good news is the car's MOT, we're back on the road, full clean bill of health. So JD and I have decided this weekend we're going to do a sporadic trip up to the Midlands. We've got some friends up there, so we've got about 4.5 hours between now and when we leave. Annoyingly, on the drive to the MOT station, I noticed that the CarPlay box in this car stopped working. So I've got a sort of a cheap one I bought from like a Chinese website from Base Marketplace, like £100. And it actually stops the stereo working as well. So sometimes the stereo doesn't come up, the park sensors don't work. We've got 4 hours. Wouldn't be a Craig and JD video if we didn't do something under crazy time pressures, whilst it was raining obviously as well. So we're going to quickly get this car on the drive. We're going to rip out the old CarPlay box. I've had a spare Mr. 12 volt box that I bought for this car for a little while on the shelf. We're going to quickly throw that in, and then we're going to head off, get up to the Midlands, and see what's up there. Our friend Darius has a BMW M2, so roughly those cars are about the same money as what this car is. So we're really interested to compare the two side by side and say, actually, what else could I have got instead of buying this car for the same money? So we've got 4 hours. We've got to fit Apple CarPlay before we shoot off. I've got my cup of tea, but annoyingly no cup holder to put it in because this mug's too big. So first thing we're going to do... I
could be your cup holder.
Thanks, darling. The first thing we're going to do is do the coding before I start taking the car apart, because I've got the CarPlay. I'll code in the CD changer and delete the voice activation for the stereo. Otherwise it messes and interferes with it. So I'll do that first, and then after we've got that done, then we'll start taking all the dashboard apart and then get it all fitted. Right, so let's do the coding first. I've got it filtering by the trace file just to triple check that it is actually the correct CIC module that's pulled through. No modules found, so it isn't actually working at all. Alright, so we've got the old faithful laptop out since we seem to be having issues with the other one. And as we're running out of time, what is now a 5-minute job so far is turning into about an hour's worth of job. So it's beginning to get a bit frustrating. So hopefully we can use the old faithful laptop and it will do the job. We're about to find out by pressing this button. Nope, no good. So there is clearly something wrong with the OBD port on this because of the ghost immobilizer that's on it. Right, we do have a very cheap, nasty CarPlay box in this car already, which has stopped working. I've just gone through the fault codes on the BMW M2 and found that this car can't connect to the CIC unit, which is obviously where we need to do the coding. And we've had, the reason why we're replacing this CarPlay box is because we get CAN errors coming up on the screen. Sometimes the screen stops working. So it's clearly a fault that is causing with the head unit, which is why we can't establish it with the laptop. I've managed to pull a couple of the other modules off from this car, which means there's nothing wrong with the immobilizer, there's nothing wrong with the cable or the laptop. It's just purely that, probably because of the old CarPlay box, the cheap nasty one, that's what's stopping us connecting to it. So we'll remove all that, plug it back in, then do our coding, and then plug in the new Mr. 12 volt. Hopefully that works. It should go straight. There we go. There we go. How's that? Oh dear. And then you push it in. You pull it. It smells a little bit burny.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
You like frying things in BMWs?
No, we don't. We really, really don't. Now we've got to take this bit of trim out so we can get the rest of the cables out of it. It's fine. Where did I put that screwdriver that I need?
It's not underneath here, is it?
No. What have I done with that?
Had it in your hand?
Yeah.
Not in your pocket?
No. It's not in my pocket, it's about that big. There it is. On the chat.
Cool, you're sat on it. Surprised you didn't feel that.
That big old bum. So I take this out. Oh, hold on. A little bit of 10 mil. Hold on. This is a bit overkill, but it's all I had in my smaller, more portable socket set. There we go. And it turns out it's an 8 mil.
And we wonder why things take so long.
It's a bit overkill. There we go. Pull that out. All right. So here's all the original wiring, which, as you can see, this is the original BMW plug. This is the other CarPlay plug. We just need to get the most connector out. What we need to do is remove the old box entirely, because the wiring between the screen and the original head unit goes through that. So I put this in the same place we did the 335D, in that corner by the CAS module. We're going to take that out today because I think that's a rubbish way of doing it. We're going to put it under the glove box like most other people do, because I think there's more space for the wiring as well. This is the other CarPlay box here that is pretty rubbish. Issues is this box here. Right, that's the old rubbish CarPlay box. We'll get all these cables pulled through. Get all the wiring for this one removed as well. We just keep this one though, because this is the cable from the original microphone, so we can just reuse this because there's nothing wrong with that, even if it's Mr. 12 volt, not Mr. 12 volt. So we'll just keep that, save us having to take all the headliner out on this one. So we removed all the old junk. Now what we're going to do is put all of the original wiring back on and see if we can connect to it, see if it all works, and then if it doesn't, then we are going to have to cry. Well, it comes up straight away. Right, that works. Let's try the coding again. Now we've got the junk taken out and we are plugged back in. Let's see if this is going to let us connect to the CIC module and pull the file off. We're just going to do exactly the same thing we've done last time. Choose a CIC module. We need to change the job to code year, date and lesson, because that is to pull it off the car. And we press execute job and cross our fingers. And it worked. Coding ended, yes. Right, so that means the problem that we had was simply down to the fact that we had that rubbish bit of junk in it, and it's all working fine. So I'm going to save a copy of this module as a backup. I'm going to take a copy of all of that and open a new file. I keep a folder called modified modules, so I can put them all in there, and then we edit those so we've got the original file as a backup in case for any reason we screw it up. All we need to do is load NCS dummy. We load up the trace file we've just pulled off the car from our modified modules file look. We go to M3, we go to CIC, and we load the trace file. We go filter by trace file. So we have the CIC.1C16 file. There are two things that we need to search for. The first one is called SVS, voice recognition. We need to press that as disabled. And the second one is CDMM changer. CDMM_changer 3. We find next, and we need to change that to MP3 CDC. Okay. Then once we've done that, we press export the man file. I always export a copy of the trace file to my modified modules, just so I've got a copy of it here. And we call this one CIC Mr. 12 volt. So I know exactly what that's for. Close all this down, check the work folder, We've got our man file there with 17 kilobytes in. That's the right size of this module. Let's beam it on the car. And we want the CIC module. Say SG code year, and that means we're going to code it to the car, and we just simply press execute job. Coding active. You'll see the screen turn off in a second. Like that. Screen comes back on. Stereo works. It says coding ended on the laptop. Screen comes back on, look. And just to check it's taken, we go to CD DVD, and we can see we've got the CD changer option on there. That's perfect. That's what we need to run the Mr. 12 volt. We can now get on and install it. Job done. Okay, so this is Mr. 12 volt, and if you haven't already seen our 335D video, then what this does is it allows us to retrofit CarPlay into a car that doesn't ordinarily have it. Now we like this because it makes this M3 feel like a much newer car than it is, and it just brings it up into the sort of modern day. Whilst this car has Bluetooth audio, so you can play Spotify and everything through that, the maps and everything are just so outdated that it's hard. We need that one. Don't know which ones of those we need. So what we're going to do is put this inside, get this installed, then at least hopefully this will feel like a more modern car. Well, we've gone road trip on it in 2 hours. We'll be able to give it a proper spin. I know why. No, I haven't plugged the main thing in.
That would help.
Alright, that might help. Hey, it's got the screen on. Oh, it's supposed to appear there. Okay, let's come back to this because we haven't got any lights on either. So I found that the most connections come undone. I don't think it's going to relate to the power or anything, but let's at least give it a try. Let's put the key in, turn it on. Hey, there you go. Whee!
Yes.
There we go. It's in,
Lovely.
It's working. Cool, right, let's finish now. Let's get this whole car back together. We've got about 42, 52 minutes before we need to be gone. So I'm going to throw this car back together real quick, go for fuel, and then we're going to leave. So finally finished the last minute CarPlay install. Glove box was a bit harder to put back on than I first thought, so what I've done is put the car Mr. 12 volt unit near where the fuse box is, so just to get it out of the way really, so I had to have a bit of shuffle. But all that's left now to do is shove our stuff in the car and get on our way to the Midlands. You're not into it with the same spoiler.
Craig made a friend.
We made it!
So, we made it to the Midlands. It's now the next morning and we are taking a little road trip. We have met our mate Darius in his M2 and we are going for breakfast at Caffeine Machine. So join us.
That noise is so good, isn't it?
As we wake up the neighbours. And let's go and see what Caffeine Machine is all about. We made it to Caffeine Machine. They let us in. We are parked like in the back though. You can see the pub in the background. We're meeting Darius. We're going to get a bit of breakfast.
Really pleased we cleaned the cars this morning before we head off.
Yeah, it's got a bit mucky. We're going to get a bit of breakfast and we're going to talk all things M-Cars. So just had a nice bit of breakfast. It's absolutely freezing up here. Got a nice cup of tea to keep us going. Got this lovely, if you can see there, lovely Cosworth on display. Let's go find the boys next to the M3 and the M2. Let's go have a chat.
Right, we're here with Darius in the M2. Thought we'd do a bit of a chat between the M2 and the M3 because interestingly enough, both these cars are, well, what, the same price point nowadays?
Similar price point now, yeah.
Yeah, similar price point. So although being two totally different cars, if you were going to buy an M car for what, 25?
Yeah, between 20 to 30 grand, you could get a really nice one of yours, get a really good one of these as well, to be fair.
Yeah, so what we thought we'd do, Darius has actually owned both of these cars, not mine specifically, but he has had E92 M3. So just tell us a little bit about both of them, how they differ, your sort of opinion really, Darius.
Yeah, so the E92 M3 that I had was obviously the V8, same as yours. And I think for speciality, for the special occasions, the engine's just so good on those cars.
Yeah.
And they just sound absolutely incredible.
Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
But compared to this car I find is so much easier to live with day to day. Doing long journeys, it's much more comfortable, it's more economical. Not that you buy either of these cars for economy.
It's definitely a consideration though.
They're both not great on fuel, but yeah, for special occasions, I definitely preferred the E92 M3. It was an occasion, hearing it roar and fire up compared to this, but to drive like day to day, this I do prefer. Yeah,
like when we went to the Nürburgring, Darius obviously took this, and on a good day, I'm getting like, what, 20, 25 miles per gallon out of that? What did you get out of this going to Nürburgring?
I think there and back, we were doing like just under 30 mpg,
wow.
Which, you know, 28, 29, which is really good. And there were some fast runs on the Autobahn and stuff, so it was good.
But if you were to use it every day, you'd get like, what, 40?
Depends how you drive it. I think 40 is probably a push, but
being generous there.
I think you can easily get over 30, like low 30s easily. And
that makes a massive difference really, you know, when you're paying V-Power prices for fuel as well.
That's it, yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, I've never owned one of these, but as a special occasion car,
as a special occasion car, 100%. As a daily, then this is, I mean, they're still not that daily. I mean, they are dailyable, but there are certain things about this car that I don't like.
What's that then?
So, one thing that really disappoints me about this car is it is an M car, but there are certain things that are non-M about it.
Right.
So the interior is basically just like a standard 2 Series seat. They're not, if you're looking like an M3 or an M4, they've got like much nicer interior, whereas these are just standard 2 series seats with M embossed in them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really lets down the interior on these.
Yeah.
What's really annoying is the competition M2, they stepped it up and put a really nice interior in them, but
Right.
it's missing on these. You can retrofit it, but you're looking like 1,500 quid, £2,000. So
Time as well.
Time just for a pair of seats. So that's one thing I don't like about it. And on a similar trend, it's one of the only proper M cars that doesn't have a carbon roof.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously yours has got the carbon roof, the M4s have got the carbon roof, the M3's got them, just this hasn't, and I think that really lets it down. The other thing, which is specific to this one, because this is a DCT, the same as yours, I find the gearbox when it's cold and trying to get it into reverse stuff can be a bit jerky.
Yeah.
Which is just, I think, a characteristic of the, not this specific car, but just the DCT box in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
I find it can be a little bit annoying, a bit slow to react and to pull away. When you're going for it and it's in Sport Plus, it's an amazing gearbox.
Yeah, yeah.
But just that day to day, it can be a bit jerky and annoying.
Pulling off the traffic and stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fair enough. So if you had to say 3 things that you did like about this car then?
Yeah, 3 things that I do like. I actually really like the size of it. So my friends, obviously you know Tom, he's got an M4, and that's a beautiful car.
It's huge.
But it's just big.
Right,
when these 2 cars are next to each other, like the size difference between the M2 and the M4 is massive. So I really like the size of the M2, and then that kind of leads me into the second thing, which is the rear aggression on the rear arches.
Yeah.
They're so much wider than the standard 2 series.
Yeah,
you have
they're
like a
so
240i and then the M2 next to each other.
They are different.
Completely different cars.
They
They
are
look totally different. So much more aggressive. So yeah, the looks and the size are definitely 2 things. I do really like the sound it makes. Obviously, we said we love the sound of the V8.
Yeah.
They do sound amazing. But these have got the I think it's the N55 engine in them. So it's like a straight
straight
6 with a single turbo.
Oh, okay.
And this has got a Scorpion delete on the centre section.
Yeah.
So it just sounds really nice.
Yeah,
Pops
it
and
does
bangs
sound
on
good.
overrun, and
Yeah.
it sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounded good on the way here for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
100%.
So if you were to sell this, would you buy another one of those, a E92 M3, or would you buy something else?
I don't, not because I didn't like the E92 M3, I just don't think I'd go back to get anyone, you know what I mean? Go back in time. What I would really like to get next would be an Audi R8, a Gen 1 V8.
Yeah.
A little bit out of reach at the minute, but I'd really love to own one of those cars. Probably be disappointed if I got one, just because they're a much older car than this. You know what it's like when you get newer cars, they just drive tighter and
they're
nicer.
just nicer as well, a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, longing for a V8 again. You can't replace the noise, I don't think.
Well, we'll have Darius back on the channel when he's got his V8 R8.
One day.
One day, yeah. So since Darius has just said obviously things he likes about his car, let's jump into mine now, compare the interiors and things as well, and just have say a few things I like about my car. Yeah, let's go have a look.
That's got to be a top feature, surely.
What?
The cup holders. I forgot how good the cup holders were in these cars.
Bit slow now.
They are a bit slow, but they're really good cup holders. That's how it is. It's been a long time since I've sat in one of these generation cars. They do actually feel special, to be fair.
I think it's aged well.
Yeah, definitely. They've really aged well. I mean, even just like the steering wheel, you've got like the tri-colour stitching on there still, and all that sort of stuff. It's,
yeah,
they have aged well. You've got the start-stop button and stuff. I mean, what year is this?
So this is 2011.
2011. It doesn't feel like
LCI.
It doesn't feel like a 2011 car. Even the quality, like the leather, is better than the M2's leather.
And it's softer as well.
Yeah, it is.
I think the key thing for this one is because it's LCI, it's got the CIC in it. And if you look at the CCC one, so the previous generation media stuff, the knob for the iDrive looks really dated.
Okay.
I'll put a picture up on the video just so you can see it, but it looks totally different. I think having something like that does make it feel different.
Yeah, definitely.
Just small things like that.
I'll tell you one thing you've got, which I completely forgot about, is the buttons to change the shift velocity on the DCT box. So it's got the same box in it, doesn't have that feature.
Really?
But the M2 Comp does have that, so you can change it.
So it's little things that you don't have.
These little things, like I was saying, the interior and the carbon roof and the lack of those buttons.
Yeah.
I don't have the M buttons on the steering wheel.
Yes, I've got that there.
Yeah, just those little things that it doesn't have, and it's just a bit annoying because it's a proper M car.
Yeah,
People call it the M Lite.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Because it doesn't have these things.
I get that. M Lite is probably, thinking about it.
Which is not, it's a proper M car.
It's a proper M car. I think one thing that would annoy me if I had an M Lite M2 is the engine doesn't start with an S.
Yes, it's the N. Yeah.
And it's completely ridiculous, but little things like that. Like in this one, it's an S65.
Yeah, and the M3, 4 and the M2 Comp is the S55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's,
but with yours, S65 it might be, I can't remember. But yeah, it's not an S series engine. I think what really not ruined those cars, but has definitely helped to tank the values of the cars, is the M2 competition.
Yeah.
Because everybody says that the M2 competition is what the M2 always should have been.
Yes.
It's got the right engine, it's got the right interior, it's got the bits that you would expect from an M car.
Yeah.
But it didn't exist at a certain point in time. Then when they brought it out, it kind of showed up the differences between the two.
Yeah. Do you think they kind of like experimented with yours just to see if it was actually popular?
I think so, and I think a lot of people say that car kind of harks back to this in a way, from the size and the way it drives and the characteristics and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they've sold loads of them. They're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah,
especially over at the Ring.
I think they're like one of the most popular M cars at the minute as well.
Definitely.
And you can see why.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, from a price perspective, when you compare, you could buy one of those or you could buy one of these. Hard decision, really.
But I guess that brings me on to 3 things that I love about this. I think the thing I like about this car is how much attention it gets, right? We both know I'm a bit of an attention seeker. I love the spotlight. So I think, you know, like just today, we've gone out for breakfast and people come straight over and start taking photos of both the cars.
Yeah.
I think that's quite nice.
And what you notice is, even though they're parked next to each other, this definitely gets more attention.
Yeah, it does.
100%. More people taking photos of this and having a look round it than that. And I think that's because you just see loads of them.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You see less of these nowadays, 100%. Especially. Yeah. I think the other thing I like about this as well is like it still feels like a modern car. Right, so although it's what 2011, so it's 14 years old. You know, you still look at the clocks. Yeah, it still feels, it's like got classic look and everything, but it still feels modern.
Definitely. I mean, if you look back at your clocks there, you've got, you know, the shift LEDs.
Yeah, and it comes up.
That doesn't have that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. The other thing I like is obviously the noise. Let's see if we can get that going as well. But I think, you know, now we put the CarPlay in it as well, it just really makes it feel like a modern day sort of car. Maybe just turn the immobiliser off.
And you've got your seatbelt butler coming out to hand you the seatbelt. I don't have that either.
M4 doesn't have that either.
Does Tom's M4 not have that?
No, but I tell you what he does have. It looks like they tried to put them in and then put like a bit of plastic trim in them, because I noticed there was something there. Just the noise of this car is phenomenal. If I put the window down. Do you know what I mean? It just sounds so
that classic like V8 the tick over. Yeah.
Sounds like it's misfiring.
Let's hope not.
The other thing as well is, like I say, with the CarPlay as well, it just feels like a modern car now. And everything in this car is quality, like the seats.
So you're praising it really highly. What don't you like about it?
Fuel bill, first and foremost. You know, like we've done 174 miles and we've got just under, well, we've got between half and quarter of a tank.
What's your average MPG?
Let's have a look. I reset this every time. We've got 23.5.
That isn't actually too bad. That isn't actually too bad.
Yeah, I don't like the road tax as well, so we'll put those two the same.
Yeah, I forgot the road tax, and that's much less than this.
Oh, this is like 780 quid.
Yeah, so if you were comparing the two of them, I think that's like 350 or something like that, maybe a bit less. So yeah, but a lot different.
Yeah, and then there's not a lot I don't like about it, to be honest.
You were saying earlier, I mean, they don't come with the car, but you're not a big fan of the carbon bits that have been put on it.
Yes,
you like front splitter, don't you?
Yes, the rear splitter on this car is going to go. I'm just concerned that it's going to be stuck on with Mansory glue, at which point it's going to be a new rear bumper, at which point I think I quite like it.
Yeah, you like it.
I quite like it at that point, yeah.
If it doesn't come off, you're a big fan.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, huge fan, definitely want to keep that. The only other thing for me is I'd like the interior to be red. You know, I bought black originally to be safe, but I really like the red interiors on these. I think they look really good. You know, I don't think there's a lot I don't like about it. Maybe everything is money, but that's because I'm coming from Fiestas where everything is like 30 quid.
I was just about to say, the bills on this, you've got like stuff like, and even if you come to sell it, everyone's going to ask you, have the rod bearings been done?
That's it,
Have the throttle actuators been done? When I was selling mine, I mean, I sold it really cheap. It was like 14.5 grand.
Yeah.
It was back just before COVID. Or just during COVID, which I thought was really cheap. It did 98,000 miles, full service history, rod bearings were done, throttle actuators were done. It was 14.5 grand.
Yeah.
And I had people saying, has this been done? Has that been done? Has the coil packs been done? Have the injectors been done? And do you want the car for free? Do you want me to replace everything and just give you the car?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I would say if you ever do come to sell it, be prepared for the BMW specialists to want to come and tear it to pieces.
Oh, the other thing as well is the brakes. Everyone mentions these about these cars, and I've just started to notice myself. True, the front brakes on these, you press the pedal, like coming out of yours this morning, I pressed the pedal expecting much more to happen than it did. Just a couple of times with that. So I just think, you know, a nice upgrade to a set of M4 front brakes on this would be lovely. No, I think it's amazing. I mean, we've put put the GTS gearbox map in on this. So like you said with yours, with the clunky gearbox, I had exactly that with this. This had stop start on it as well.
Okay, yeah, so
and
that's same as that.
Yeah, so when I put the GTS gearbox map on it, it got rid of the stop start, which was great.
That's good.
And for a town and a road car, it was significantly better, which I thought was strange because the GTS is a proper out and out race car.
Yeah.
And considering that had a better driving gearbox,
I've heard lots of people
weird, isn't it?
Put the GTS map on, have better. I think some of them have got you can do the GTS steering as well.
Really?
I'm not sure if that's on these or if it's on the M3, M4, but you can actually map the steering module, and it apparently changes the steering on them as well.
We're gonna have a look at that.
Have a look into that.
Definitely have a look at that.
But yeah, so with those cars, the non-comp, we'll go back to this whole non-comp situation, M-Lite, you can put the GTS maps on those, but they're missing some sensors, so it apparently makes them drive even worse. So the only option for that is the XHP. So that's meant to be quite good, but I haven't done it, I've not looked into it. It's still under BMW warranty, so I don't really want to mess with it.
Yeah, I get that.
But then that's a whole other thing I don't like, is the BMW dealers, they're a nightmare. But that's a conversation for a different day.
So whilst we're here, it would be rude not to have a look around. For a 90s themed event, there aren't a huge amount of 90s cars here, but there are some gems, so let's go have a look.
First beat is right on.
Okay, so we finished at Caffeine Machine. We're on our way home, and we thought, we keep talking about the sound of these M cars, so let's actually hear the sound of these M cars. So Darius is going to give us a rev, Craig is going to give us a rev, and then we're going to put to the vote who sounds the best. Go on then, Darius! That sounded good. Alright, let's go over to Craig.
I hear your straight 6 turbo, and I raise you one V8. We'll start with a
right.
startup.
Now it's time for the M3. I mean, they both sound great to me. I think we're going to have to put some votes in the comments. You guys need to let us know which one you prefer.
I'm so glad we cleaned these out. Is that actually shit? Lick it.
Come and look at this.
Oh wow.
Well, we certainly had fun on the way in, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we just made it back from Caffeine Machine, but look how filthy the cars are.
We cleaned these just before we left.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
They were immaculate.
Yeah. Darius was up at like 7:30 this morning with a jet wash, but
And the poor S3's been left out. We better take that out now.
Yeah.
Get that
take
money.
for a spin.
Yeah.
Lynn's already done that.
What sounds better, the M3 or the S3?
Definitely M3.
Just pulled up on the drive, got home from the Midlands, ready to start work again tomorrow. And I hope you guys were expecting to see more M3 content, because as you can see here, we have a nice oil stain on the drive and a bit more over here from where we left the M3 sat idling for a minute or two whilst opening the garage and getting the Fiesta out. So I've got to get underneath it and find out what's going on. So if you like this video and you want to see what's wrong with the M3, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Well, we're gonna have to get that car up in the air and take the under trays off, and I'm a bit nervous because it could be expensive.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back.
So she can film it from the back.
It's like, look, she's literally in the back of the car, all crouching down. And we don't know why. She just suddenly decided to get in it.
Way back before we blew it all. Too many things going on.